All right.
But I was exercising.
Just trying to help the story along. No big deal.
I was doing heavy kettlebells at the time. I felt confident. So yeah, but they let me go. They left.
What was the cop's response to that?
He like backed off. He like backed down.
What a fucking puss cop. If someone said that to me, I would rattle their molars with my fucking belt.
Yeah.
I'd go, let me take that off. Oh, there's a nightstick attached to it. I guess that clipped you in the eye as I took it off.
Yeah, it could have happened to me, right?
Yeah.
So then that just fed my mania and anger more. I went on Twitter and they just sent the cops to my house, this and that. This guy and that guy, he was a jerk. So that fed that.
Men in Blue, anti-Semitic.
Yes. LAPD, look it up. So they left, and then the next day, that's when I went to the other Starbucks, and I yelled at the guy, and he told the barista, and the cops showed up, and they handcuffed me right there on Coldwater and Ventura. Mm-hmm. And I loved it. It was like, I didn't do anything wrong.
Petco right next door.
Yeah.
Sportsman's Lodge. Get a gander.
Grandmother had her 80th birthday there.
Natch.
Remember it well.
Me too.
So they handcuffed me, and I go, Brody, arrested. And she goes, no, he's detained. Because I was talking to these guys out on the patio who recognized me from TMZ, and a couple of them knew me from doing stand-up comedy, and I would go to that was a different Starbucks.
They put cuffs on you.
Yes.
For calling a man a jerk.
Yes. For being, like, loud.
You must have really been a scary dude.
Well, they put cuffs on me. And then they brought me around to the side, and I told the officers everything. I was being honest about everything. I go, look, good things have been happening. I may have mentioned I was off my meds. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But
I would have opened with that.
I'm off my meds.
Officers, I'm off my meds.
And I was talking to them. And they said, well, you got to wait here. They called their supervisor, and I said, look, I won't do it again. I won't cause any problems. I'm good. And the supervisor came, he pulled me aside, and he says, look, do you promise not to, like, cause any more problems here? I go, I promise. I go, I was...
Cross your heart up to die?
Yeah, well, I had the handcuffs. Well, he took them off, but they let me go.
And you had your fingers crossed in your handcuffs?
Yeah.
So you can
I was able to do that. But they let me go, and then I tweeted some more, and then the next...
More crazy tweets?
Yeah.
Okay. For lack of a better expression.
Yeah, crazy tweets. And the next day, my friend came to hang out with me, and we went to, at that point, I knew I was like on a bender, and I had to take a break. Either like go visit my mom or get out of town. I knew something wasn't right. And we went to McDonald's or something. I wanted to, I was manic, but I wasn't angry. I was happy with my friends. I was saying, look, I'm going to get through this. This is good. I'm feeling good. We're doing things. And then we went back to my house. Or we were in his car, and his manager, who I knew, called, and I picked up the phone, and I saw that it was him. I go, let me pick up the phone. And I said, Dave, this is Brody. I've got a gun. I'm kidding. I'm fine. Everything's fine. And that, like, freaked him out. And they were in the neighborhood, like, watching me at that point. Like, he had the cops ready to, like, get me. Before before he called and said, I have a gun, and even though I was joking. So I went back in to take a shower, and then that's when the cops came into my apartment. They let
the second time.
And that's when they handcuffed me and they took me away. A 5150.
And were you on, so that's 72 hours?
72-hour hold. But they took me down to, like, the L.A. County. There's no, like, L.A. County, like, where they put homeless crazy people. So I was there for, like, a day and a half. And it was upsetting because they wouldn't talk to me. And then they were just trying to get a bed available for me at UCLA is what they were trying to do. So I was there for, like, a day. Then I went to UCLA. And I was supposed to be there for 3 days. I ended up staying 17 days. Because the doctor just didn't, they had to stabilize me.
Stay on?
Depakote and Seroquel. This
is interesting to me in a lot of ways, obviously, but because usually when you hear a story like this, the person's done cocaine, they've done booze, they're on a shitload of Xanax and just quit all of a sudden and they're fucking seizing out. But you're no substance.
No. I was smoking pot.
Oh, that's a big chunk you left out.
I mean, I was smoking pot too.
A lot of pot?
A fair amount.
And I don't, just for everybody that's listening, I don't think fucking pot will make you
manic.
mad. But in your situation, in your brain chemistry, it obviously didn't help.
It didn't help.
It probably hurt.
Yeah.
And I'm all for everybody smoking pot all the time if that's your thing.
Yeah, I was smoking pot also. And then they...
Did you blow it in the cop's face?
That would have been funny.
So you're on a 5150 for basically...
being non-compliant with my meds.
Right.
And danger to myself and others.
But you weaned yourself off the way a doctor would tell you to. You were on them in the first place by your GP because you felt depressed about your obsessive compulsiveness.
Correct.
Now being off meds, you've sort of, I guess for lack of a better expression, unraveled and come undone and become a bit nuts.
A bit.
Okay.
I felt great. I was euphoric. Not everybody thought that, but a lot.
What I'm curious about is, and it's rhetorical, I suppose, but where you wound up off your meds in that manic state, 3 cop visits, and your friends that love you calling the police to protect you from yourself at a 5150 for 17 days at UCLA, like, what's that fucking diagnosis? Like, your general practice doctor put you on Lexapro because you thought maybe you were depressed about your obsessiveness about updating Facebook, and now off meds, you're a manic person where your friends look in your eyes and they're afraid of you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is that?
They diagnosed me as bipolar. He said, you're bipolar.
There you go.
And you shouldn't have been on Lexapro to begin with. That's what this particular UCLA head doctor said.
Now, being diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and I'm a huge advocate of mental... And when you say mental illness, people think you're a fucking hatchet-wielding crazy person. I have a mental illness.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I have a panic disorder and crippling depression. You have a mental illness. You have bipolar disorder.
I guess.
I mean, we just flushed out a day in the life of you off meds and how it unraveled and your mania swinging like sands in an hourglass. Like it just kept filling up.
Right. I have all the traditional signs of a manic episode.
And I don't think enough attention is paid. I love the Thalians over here at Cedars.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole mental health building. And people don't realize that someone like Brody with a great support system of friends and who's a comic that has an outlet every night, there's really no difference between me with panic disorder and depression, and I'm an addict, okay? And you with bipolar disorder that had mania. This is where the mental health argument comes in for me. There's not that big of a difference between, like, you and I are sitting here, successful guys doing a podcast, and somebody exactly like you and me are on PCH and Sunset holding a fucking sign.
Yeah.
It's that safety net of friends catching you in time. It really is. We're very lucky. And I think not enough attention is paid to mental health. And like soldiers that come home and people like you, I think your life was saved. Do you feel that you feel like you're not sure about the diagnosis?
I still fight with it.
And how much of that is the original machismo that we talked about?
Probably some of that. I feel like...
What's the fight? You acted a certain way.
But I stopped my meds cold turkey. What happens if I weaned off?
You did. You didn't stop them cold turkey. You started stopping them in Scotland.
A little bit.
You said you rationed yourself. And we covered 2 weeks of you rationing. And it wasn't until LA you were completely off. So how much time went by from Scotland to Los Angeles?
6-7 days.
I think that's not quitting cold turkey. You know?
But you're supposed to go from 20 to 15 to 10
All right,
to
you went from
5.
20 to 10 to 0.
Yeah.
All right. That's not cold turkey.
Well,
You took a week to get off of Lexapro.
yeah.
Right. And then when you're off Lexapro, you spiraled upwards.
Correct.
Out of, maybe not to you out of control, but to the people that love you and care about you. They looked at your eyes and you scared them.
Yes.
Okay. What part of the diagnosis are you having a hard time with? I think you're having a hard time with the diagnosis and the stigma attached to it.
A little bit.
Which goes back to my thing about mental health. There's so much work to be done for guys like you and I that are just out there making a living that have fucking problems.
Well,
That are doing, now you're doing great.
I'm doing okay. I mean,
No, you're doing fucking great. Are you a comic?
Yeah, I'm a comedian.
Are you doing comedy?
Yeah.
Are you on television?
Tomorrow night on The Burn.
Then what the fuck are you talking about? What's not great about that? What part of that is not a best case scenario, Arizona State University, first day in acting class, Brody Stevens? What part of that is not, sign me up right now for that for the rest of my life?
Well, here's the when you're bipolar,
Yeah.
what goes up comes down.
Right.
So I'm in a depressive state.
Right now.
Yes.
Okay.
That I've never been in before.
Really?
Yes. I mean, I'm pretty low. And I've never ever been this low before. I'm on different meds, and maybe that could be some side effect. Depression actually could be a side effect, but beyond that, I'm in a low, not a bad place, but a dark place that I've never been in before. As high as I was, now I'm at the bottom.
You've never been this low before.
No, and this is dealing with. Yeah, I'm doing TV. I had my HBO show. I'm getting laughs. I mean, I can get on stage. I can get on stage and do okay. I can do certain things, but there's a lot of. I've been going through isolation.
Yeah, when you go home and you're alone and the lights are out and you're laying in your bed, it's just you and your thoughts.
Yeah, I'm having problems, and that's why I've.
Do you feel like you want to hurt yourself? We can take it out if you don't want to talk.
No, I don't want to hurt myself, but I do have those. I mean, I think everyone has those.
And be careful what you say. We'll take it out if you say something that you want to pull, because I don't want people to hear this and go, fucking call the cops on Brody, and then you're on an upswing, and you're like, what? That was like fucking 3 weeks ago. I feel great. Or if you just want to let it all out, and we'll just fucking deal with it.
I mean, I've had some dark thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing. This is what fascinates me about the lows of bipolar. That's not when your friends step in. When you're low like this, I didn't know you were low. You walk in, Brody Stevens, feel it, doing good, positive energy. And you tripped over my son's trains and we had a laugh and it was fucking fun. But when you were manic, you feel fucking fantastic.
Yes.
Everyone steps in and calls the cops on you.
Rains on my parade.
And when you're alone, feeling dark thoughts and feeling, I've never felt this low and this alone and this depressed in my life, no one does anything. Which makes you feel lower. And the fact that you feel low makes you feel low.
Oh,
right?
It's
the fact that how about this one that people don't even think of? Reaching for your antidepressant medication makes you more depressed than being depressed. Because you feel so low about yourself that you have to take this fucking medication and you can't just be like a regular guy, like the guys back on the ball team that had no worries.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
But I know I have to take my meds.
Well, yeah. I'm going to jam them down your fucking throat, you prick.
We're
Sounds
finding
like a hybrid impression. I don't know who that was.
It was like a Joe Pesci.
Pesci dice.
Yeah. I'm finding the right cocktail, the right mix. But I'll say this, my friends have stepped in because I've let them know that I'm down. And Zach has stepped in and Dave Rath, just like they stepped in before.
All right.
And I have a therapist that is great.
Okay, good.
A psychologist who is really helping me through. But I'll be honest, I've been pretty down. And when you're bipolar, when you have a manic episode, 100% of the time, you're going to be depressed after.
That's the gig.
And that's where I am right now. And I need to get to that midpoint.
And you want to ride the mania because you know the crash is coming. Right?
Yeah, I didn't know the crash was going to come.
No, I mean, but now when you have an upswing and you're in the mania, you want to ride it out because you know the other side of the coin is so horrible.
Correct.
And that becomes mania upon mania upon mania.
Yeah.
The mania to maintain the mania.